What is the best conversation you accidentally overheard? Oh man, I smell today. You know you get those days where you jump in the shower but just forget to wash? Number. I don't. What the heck? My freshman roommate in college would talk on the phone 24/7 to anyone and everyone. His GF, the girl he was cheating on his GF with, and my personal favorite, some random conversation that I was barely paying attention to when suddenly, oh, I forgot to tell you, your daughter broke up with me yesterday. To this day I kick myself for not paying attention from the beginning. I overheard two people's epic encounter a while ago. So a woman comes into the bakery and as soon as she steps in a man greets her. He proceeds to ask her about what's new and how she's been the last 20 years. The woman obviously knew the guy and they engage in a 10ish minute talk about their spouses, kids and jobs, basically everything new from the last 20 years. Then they decide to meet up next weekend and have a cup of coffee. The woman then asks him to say hi to his sister from her, and his response is, I don't have a sister. At that point both their faces were priceless. She asks him, wait, your name is Pete, right? He responds, EHH. Number, your name isn't Karen? I burst into laughter sitting a few meters away. They had been talking to a complete stranger about the last 20 years of their lives. They said bye to each other in an extremely awkward manner and went on their way. This sounds like the beginning of a romantic comedy. Two girls on the bus sitting in front of me start talking about a date that one of them had recently been on. One of them says, and then he stuck his hand up my skirt, and her friend says, the one with the stripes on it. On college campus, a black guy walks up to a black girl he clearly knows, who is wearing a hat and sunglasses. So the girl, where you going looking all incognito? I was at a graduation party for my best friend when she graduated high school in 07, and a boy she was hanging out with at the time was there. He had to use my friend's house phone to call his mom, and the last thing he said to her before hanging up was, I'm a grown-ass man. Mom, I'll skateboard home. We still use that to this day. I was walking past a bar one night and a man was standing outside on the phone and I caught, look man, I need to tell you about the monkey. In Costco and they had giant crab for sale. Little girl, Dad, what do they eat? Dad, little girl's called Megan. Plot twist, Megan is her sister who was eaten alive by a giant crab. Little girl next to me at the zoo looking at the pandas. Mom, when I grow up I want to be bamboo. Overheard more or less. At a past job I was accidentally sent an email from a woman at an office several states away that basically said, I've thought long and hard about this, and I'm still apprehensive about it, but I'm ready to meet you at a hotel. It was followed with about 10 recall message attempts. Girl 1, why do you eat my mayonnaise? You have your own. Girl 2, I like the combination. 1, so you ate half a jar of mine without asking? 2, yes, I like the combination. 1, that still doesn't explain why you used mine. 2, I like the combination. In an old electronics class we were playing with spectrum analyzers and discovered that the old cell phones broadcast on open frequencies. If you found the spike on the spectrum and tuned into it, you could hear what they were saying. Happened to tune into a couple girls calling some guy so they could come over and smoke some doobies. By the time they were done, me and my lab partner had the entire class clustered around listening in. Think half of them were hoping to find out where they were going so they could crash the party. Met my boyfriend's family, then walked into the other room. She's nice and all, but I really liked X's name better. Whatever happened to her? I like my password. It's hello4. But don't tell anyone. Some little girl behind me talking to another kid. I was at the bathroom in my university, washing my hands and overheard a dude talking softly in one of the stalls. Stalls are completely closed with a wall in between them. When he stopped speaking, I heard the guy next to him talk in a similar way. This went on for a few more seconds, until I heard one of them say, in a minute, I'm in the bathroom right now, followed by the other dude. Haha yeah, me too. First dude, slightly louder already. Wait, are you next to me? Then second dude, soft, possibly, louder. Hey Mark. First dude, loud. Hey man. They both started hitting the wall to make a noise and started laughing. To which I responded with, you guys are so cute, and then I left so they wouldn't know who I am. Hostel in Amsterdam. Two stoners staying in the one bunk. Guy and girl. They frick all day in front of people. Middle of the night. Ursula, we need to go to the flower market, he says, in a defeated panic. The flower market is closed, she replies. But, what about the cheese, he says in a voice that sounds like he's about to burst into tears. Not exactly a conversation, but there's a guy in the dorm below me. He doesn't know this, but I can hear him through the vent in my floor. He has a young sibling, I think, and he sings to her over the phone at night. I fall asleep to it sometimes. I was at the movies. Just wait until your dad hears about this. Mom, it's not that big of a deal. What you did was disgusting. It was a betrayal of my trust. It was a betrayal of everything I believe in, but most of all you betrayed yourself. Once you have the two together, you can never enjoy the one without the other. Mom, drawn out into about 30 syllables. It's no skin off my nose. I've never done what you did. You are never going to go back to a time that you haven't done this. At this point I am dying to know what this kid did, and I'm trying to stay near enough in the crowd to hopefully find out when they are joined by the father. The mother points accusingly at the kid. He had a soda in the movie theater. Mom, it wasn't a soda. It was a lemonade. You've mixed sugar in the movies. Now you will constantly want a snack while you're watching a movie. You know I raised you never to eat in front of a screen. I'm sitting in my drinking spot at the bar and two rednecks are at the counter. I'm talking old, trucker hat wearing, flannel skinned men who have seen more time in truck cabs than in the sunlight. They're both sitting with their butt visors and talking heatedly. I usually overlook this sort of thing until one goes, "Main, no, why gotta slot them flawless gems in your gear or t'other stats ain't gonna optimize right? Why build for your play and then why get online? Where are your skills right now? I guess Diablo 3 has a wide audience." At Walmart, two guys maybe 18 years old looking at a box of Extends pills. They were beyond pumped. I heard one say, "We're gonna be so huge." Girl 1, are you? Name? Girl 2, yeah. Girl 1, hi, I'm your math tutor. Girl 2, oh, you're cute. I'd totally date you, but I'm not a lesbian. Girl 1, thanks, I'd date you, too, but I'm straight, and I have a boyfriend. They totally didn't frick that night. Did you hear what happened to X? No. What, she got a yeast infection in her throat from sucking too much dong. Was at work and a couple of guys walked past the window. All I heard was, "Dude, you really should get her a birthday present. I mean, she did give you a really good BJ. Fair enough." Somebody was talking on the phone on my way back to the car from the grocery store. No, I didn't freaking kill him. Why would you freaking think that? Needless to say, I probably broke a record for fastest car grocery loading ever. I was showing a network admin how insecure VoIP can be by showing him how to hack his network with a free program. We found a call and started listening in. The VoIP call we ended up cracking into was the VP and other heads of the company talking about a birthday party that they were throwing the network admin. They went on to say what a nice guy that the network admin was and how much smoother things ran under his care. The guy was nearly moved to tears. I overheard my 7-year-old cousin playing with a hair clip. He found, "People think I am a Meg, but I am actually a venomous spider. I live in the ocean." Two guys making sandwiches at my local deli were arguing over what the best movie ever was. One man was arguing that Kindergarten Cop was the best movie ever created, and the other was just arguing that it wasn't. The one arguing that it wasn't gave a couple valid arguments that seemed easily deflected by the other man. It eventually devolved into them shouting "IT's not a tumor" at each other. One gentleman telling another that he could pop a wheelie in this bad boy, referring to his wheelchair. I had to introduce myself because that is the type of person I need in my life. I was in a shoe store and a little girl was playing on the floor with her mom. The mom kept asking her to stand up, but the little girl would continue rolling around the floor. Finally she rolled under her mom's legs and looked up and said loudly, "Why don't you have on any panties?" And the mom dragged her out of the store quickly. Was on the bus and a small girl and her father were sitting in front of me. The kid was misbehaving a bit and wouldn't sit still even though her father would tell her to settle down several times. Eventually he lets out an exasperated "Why won't you do what I tell you to?" and the little girl answers, matter of factly, "Mum always tells you to stop washing your balls in the sink but you still do it." Needless to say they got off that bus very quickly as every single person around them was desperately trying not to laugh. My high school had a lot of stoners. One day in class I overheard the following. Dude 1, "Hey, so man, you got my stuff in your car?" Dude 2, "Yeah, man, I got it. You got the money?" Dude 1, "Well, I do, but it's all in quarters." Dude 2, "Quarters? What the heck am I supposed to do with $100 worth of quarters?" Dude 1, "Hey man, you just said I needed to bring you $100. You didn't say it had to be in bills." Dude 2, "What? Where the heck did you even get $100 worth of quarters?" Dude 1, "Hey, look, do you want it or not?" Dude 2, "What the frick ever man. Meet me in the XXX parking lot after 4th period." My personal favorite was between two sorority girls on the bus. So you know how Becca was talking about getting a llama? Yeah, well she actually did it. I went to her parents' place to see it, and that sucker spit on me. I was in line to order fried chicken and this was the conversation between the woman ordering and the one behind the counter. "What the heck you fat butt want? B. Get me a walker and a flyer. You sure you fat butt needs to be eating all that? Frick you B. I eat what I want." They were either friends or the lady taking orders got some real sass. I was walking through a parking lot and a lady drove past. All I heard was, "No, I didn't leave a butt plug in your morning smoothie." Late night in the Mission, SF. Drunk group walking below my window. Guy burping, haha, I can burp the alphabet. Some chick, I can queef a lullaby. My wife and I were at a pretty fancy restaurant where they have their wine list on iPads. We were in a celebratory mood and decided to splurge a bit and get some glasses of wine that were $15 a pop. Shortly after we got our wine, this old guy walks in with two young ladies. The sommelier comes up and asks if he had any questions about the wine list. The old dude says, "I trust you. Just bring out something that's reasonably priced." Sommelier looks back a bit baffled and says, "I'm sorry sir, but would you kindly let me know what reasonably priced would be?" Old dude puts the wine list down, calmly smiles and says anything under $5,000 a bottle will be just fine. Thanks. Ended up ordering 3 bottles over the course of our dinner. Crazy and entertaining all at once. Me and a friend were sitting outside McDonald's when we heard this. Was banging her hard and she was screaming like yeah 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 frick my pussy and she had like 15 orgasms and her T were bouncing up and down. Straight after that I went and fricked her sister who was in the next room and she had like 20 orgasms and I hadn't even CM yet because I can go for like an hour because my dong is 20 inches so it's hard to get it in sometimes. And then after an hour I came 3 times and she was screaming so loud I thought her mum was going to hear and get jealous because I've fricked their mum too. Guy was about 12 and all his friends were hanging on every word in amazement like he was a total stud. 2 old men talking about the plot to my cousin Vinny. They were trying to remember the name of the movie but they couldn't do it. My wife and I ended up buying their dinner, and we made our own little game based on it called Ambiguous Movie Plot where you try and stump the other person by giving just enough details about the movie so it pisses them off when they hear the title, but not enough so they can guess it. Happened in secondary school. If you were a triangle I'd measure your surface area. 2 young South Asian girls on the escalator at the tube station in London. One of them crying, "I can't believe he broke up with me. I let him shag my ass last night." "That's why babes. You gave him what he wanted and now he's had enough." "That wasn't what he wanted. He wanted to pee on my face." I said no freaking way Faisal, but you can bum me instead. Classy. While on a dinner boat ride in Memphis, Tennessee, I was lucky enough to be a few feet away from a man who was discussing his bus service business when Hurricane Katrina hit the southern states. When the flooding hit and people needed to be evacuated, the government seized his buses to assist in the rescue. He mentioned that he gave everyone a brief demonstration to the military drivers on how to operate the bus before getting in his own bus and following the convoy which was destined for Louisiana. For about a week or two he was down there assisting with transporting civilians out of the flood zone area and bringing in helpers and supplies to the area's medical facilities. Then Red Cross and or more military support came in and he wasn't needed. He drove his bus all the way back to Tennessee straight home and hugged his family. It was one of the most emotional and mesmerizing stories I've ever heard of someone just dropping everything in a time of an emergency to assist others. The whole time I'm just staring off port of the ship just watching the river for 20 minutes while listening to him tell his tale. Was chilling in my first floor apartment in Chicago, windows down, hear a girl softly sobbing while a man, ostensibly her boyfriend, shouts at her, "You're freaking dentist Ashley." Okay, a freaking dentist. Can't quite put my finger on why, but I'll always love that one. I was sitting down in a library when I accidentally overheard two gals talking about, well, vampire boners, and if they could get any since they didn't have any blood, then they proceeded to talk about what would happen if a vampire had AIDS. I have a contribution from the other side, so to speak. There was a private zoo for sale here in New Zealand, in the Bombay Hills just south of Auckland, to be precise. The topic came up cause my partner at the time was working for Realestate.co.nz, the largest property portal in the country, and they had discussed the listing in the office earlier that day. We were discussing the zoo, its price, its features etc. while we were sitting at a reasonably noisy restaurant. Our waitress snuck up on us to grab some empties just as I asked my partner, "Can you check if the 1.2 million includes the elephants? I'm sure I've never seemed more interesting and wealthy at any other point in my life." Poor, misled waitress was staring at me when I went forward to pay later. Not exactly a conversation, but I once found a note that was written by a gentleman patient I worked with who had schizophrenia, and it's almost like a conversation he had with himself. I've kept it for years as a reminder of the effects of mental illness on thought. I will transcribe it for you. Original spelling and punctuation intact. "Last night I saw a Mr. Dicey eating food and he looked mean. Is this a warning for him? Nick says he needs a new father. Joe wants Sean. Kevin needs Justin. Me and Joe will laugh to the sloppy Joe's house." Includes pictures of weird faces with names Joe, Sean, and the last one is labeled "Poor Nick Kevin Justin losing Sean, Joe." Yes, I nod my own head. No, you are a weird Mr. Dicey. He lets me talk about NSYNC and not Jonas. The lines are kind of spaced apart on the page as if the note was being passed back and forth or like there was a reply between thoughts. But he wrote it all himself and was alone during that time. I have no idea who the he is that he's referring to, who won't let him talk about Jonas or Mr. Dicey, nor do I know why he was talking about the Jonas Brothers and NSYNC. It's probably the most interesting possession I have. Walking past a group of soccer mom looking women pushing strollers, one of them proclaims loudly, "And he was a leather daddy." You have been visited by the romantic doggo. Comment love is magic so you never fall in the friend zone. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.